Rest, we're going to bring in NHL Network insider Elliotte Friedman for a little bit more. Elliotte, what are you hearing on this front out in St. Louis? When they say discrepancies, are they talking about potential false positives? What have you heard about what's going on behind the scenes for the St. Louis Blues?
Well, Jackie, I think what we're talking about here, and this is something that's fluid, so what I say now could change. But what we're talking about here is there were some results here, and I think there was more than one team that they thought just didn't make any sense. And they're trying to figure out if it was a lab error or a false positive, as you mentioned, or something like that. And they're going back through the testing and they're kind of retesting everybody and trying to see, because they basically what it comes down to is that there's a concern that some of these results don't make sense, whether it's because they involve people who are vaccinated or they involve people who have the antibodies. It just doesn't seem to add up, for lack of a better term. So the league is trying to figure out, along with the Players Association and the teams, what exactly is going on here. I had heard rumors today that this might not be the only league that was affected, that there might be some other leagues that are looking into this too. We'll see if that's true. But basically, they're just trying to figure out if some results were improper here and why that could have happened.
All right, well, we're going to be keeping a close eye, certainly, on this story. If there's any other developments, we will have them for you right here on NHL Now or NHL Tonight a little bit later. But, Elliotte, let's get to some of the hockey things. And the Vancouver Canucks are playing as we speak, finishing their season. And the word is they're expecting, you reported they're expecting to make some kind of organizational announcement moving forward. There's been a lot of speculation all year about the coach or the GM. What are you hearing?
Well, I heard it's possible. The announcement might not come until next week, that they may finish this season and then kind of figure out where things are. I've been told there are some moving parts, but I understand that on Monday, well, the ownership met on Monday, and from what I understand, on Monday night, general manager Jim Benning was told he would return. Now, what we're all curious about is what exactly that means and what that's going to mean around him. Darren Dreger reported yesterday that the Sedins have been approached to talk about a potential role with the team. From what I understand, if it was to happen, it would be similar to the role that was announced by the New York Rangers today with Mike Greer, a hockey operations role, kind of an advisory role where they'd have a voice. But they wouldn't they wouldn't be the GM or the president of hockey operations or anything like that. One thing ownership has been doing over the past couple of weeks is soliciting a lot of opinions about what's gone wrong and how to fix. But I do believe they've gone to Benning and told him he is going to return. I think we're all curious about what that's going to mean around him. Now, the other person whose immediate future is in question is Travis Green. He does not have an extension beyond this season. I do think there have been some cursory negotiations. I think the team and him are not in the same ballpark. There have been some rumblings that they've been taking another run at it lately to see if they could sort out something. I don't have great clarity as we do this on what his future is, but I know that, one of the things that happened in Arizona was Rick Tocchet wanted to interview for other jobs, which makes perfect sense. And so the team said, you know what, let's just have the amicable split. I think Travis Green doesn't necessarily want to wait, because if he isn't going to be the coach in Vancouver, I think he wants to interview elsewhere. So there is some urgency to try to clarify his situation as soon as after they play today.
Well, there are a lot of really good coaches available right now. You mentioned Rick Tocchet. He's reportedly interviewed with both the Seattle Kraken and the New York Rangers for a head coaching position. What's the latest on where he could potentially end up?
Well, like you said, I think he's got interviews scheduled with I should say, Jackie, I don't know if he's had them yet, but he is going to be interviewed by those two teams. And I wouldn't be surprised, depending on what else opens up, if he gets interviewed elsewhere. Are there going to be any more vacancies? Are any teams going to make changes based on their results? So I don't think we have a full picture yet, Jackie, of the coaching carousel. And I think Tocchet, as you mentioned, he's got those two interviews. I wouldn't be surprised, depending on what happens, if he gets even more. He's a really good coach.
All right, Elliotte, there's a lot of really good coaches, as you say, on the market. I mean, you got Bruce Boudreau, you got John Tortorella, you got Claude Julien, you got Gerard Gallant. I mean, I know I'm missing about 6 guys right now because there's a lot of them. What are you hearing about these high-profile guys and where they might land, or if they might land somewhere?
Well, one of the things I'm really curious about is Buffalo, and that is because I think Bruce Boudreau in particular would love to coach there. I think John Tortorella would love to coach there. Tortorella has a long history with the Sabres. Boudreau has run a hockey camp for a long time just across the border in Ontario and is from Toronto. I think those two guys would love to be there. Gallant, we know he's going to interview with the Rangers. I believe he will also interview in Columbus. One of the other things that's, kind of interesting out there is, like I said, what happens depending on the first round? What are some of these situations? And Claude Julien, we mentioned Travis Green. If Travis Green does not go back to Vancouver, Jim Benning and Claude Julien have a connection, and there's been some open speculation in Vancouver that Julien could be a target there if the Canucks job comes open.
You raised some valid points. We'll have to wait for the first round series to come to a close before we see some of that shake out, I'm sure. But never a dull moment when it comes to the coaching carousel in the National Hockey League. Elliotte, thanks for the time.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Enjoy the games tonight.
Yeah, you too.